Today we'll be studying about the basic biomechanical factors and concepts, the most important things and the basis or basics of biomechanics. Now, when we study about biomechanics, why it becomes so important and what exactly it's the meaning. The biomechanics, which is a self-explanatory term, bio and mechanics, it is the study of the mechanics as it relates to the functional and anatomical analysis of biological systems and especially humans. That's what we are going to study, and it is necessary to study the body's mechanical characteristics and principle to understand its movements. So if we break up, so mechanics is the study of physical actions of forces, and which can be further divided into two parts, that is static force and the dynamic force. Now, what is static force? The static force, it is the study of systems that are in constant state of motion, whether at rest, with no motion, or moving at a constant velocity without acceleration. And this statics involves all the forces acting on the body being in balance, resulting in the body being in the equilibrium. Now if we talk about dynamics, it is the study of systems in motion with acceleration, and a system in acceleration is unbalanced due to unequal forces acting on the body, and that is what is our daily activity is: throwing an object, picking up an object, moving, bending down, rotating, shifting. These are all dynamics. Now in biomechanics, which we oftenly counter two topics or two terms, that is kinematics and kinetics. This kinematics is the description of motion and includes consideration of time, displacement, velocity, acceleration and space factors of a system motions. And kinetics is the study of forces associated with the motion of the body. That means all the forces, axial forces, vertical, shear forces which are acting upon the joint resulting in the motion is kinetics. And the kinematics is the description of all the motion, matlab time, that is some motion occurring during a particular time, some displacement is there, and it is related to the velocity as well as the acceleration. Now the types of machine, and we here considers the most important term is mechanical advantage. What is mechanical advantage? It is the load or the load divided by the effort. Fine, it is load upon effort. Ideally, it using a relatively small force or effort to move a much greater resistance. Musculoskeletal system may be thought as a series of simple machines, and in these machines it is used to increase the mechanical advantage. Considering mechanical aspect of each component in analysis with respect to components, machines like function. Now these machines which resulting in the mechanical advantage, it functions in the four ways, that is it balances the multiple forces, it enhances force in an attempt to reduce total force needed to overcome a resistance, enhance range of motion and speed of movement so that resistance may be moved further or faster than the applied force, or alter the resulting direction of the applied force. And the musculoskeletal system, that is arrangement, it provides three type of machines, that is which helps in the producing movement. One is levers, wheels and axles, and the pulleys. And here today we will be discussing in detail about the levers. That's it. Levers, humans, or rather all the joints or any locomotion or motion which is occurring, it is occurring through the system of levers. And levers cannot be changed, but they can be utilized more efficiently. And what is a lever? Lever is a rigid bar that turns about an axis of rotation or a fulcrum. Fulcrum is a point where it is balanced. An axis is a point of rotation about which lever moves. Now this lever, it rotates about an axis as a result of force whenever there is some force applied, and it causes movement against a resistance or weight. In the body, bones represent the bars, joints they act as an axis, and muscles contraction leads to the force application. Now resistance can vary from maximal to minimal, and it can be only the bones or the weight of the segment. All lever systems have each of these three components in one of the three possible arrangement. Now the most important things when we study levers is we study three things, that is axis or the fulcrum where the point of rotation will be there. Point F, it is the force of application, usually the muscle insertion, and the resistance application, that is the center of gravity of the lever, or we can say it as a location of external resistance. Now there are three types of lever, that is first class or first order lever, second class or order lever, third class or third order lever. In first class order of lever, we can see the axis is between the fulcrum and the force on the resistance. Okay? And the second class lever, we can see that the resistance is between the axis and the force. And in third class lever, we see the force is between the axis, rather it is nearer to the axis and resistance. This is very much visible here. This is the axis and the fulcrum and the force, or rather we'll say F denotes for force. It is the axis is between the force and the resistance. In second order, the resistance is between the axis and the force, that is the muscular forces, and in third order the force is in between the axis and resistance. Now the mechanical advantage, as we talked about earlier, it is determined by the following equation, that is resistance upon the force, or we can say is the length of the force arm upon the length of the resistance arm. Now if we talk about first class lever, it is produced, these first class levers, they produce is balance moments when the axis is midway between the force and resistance. As we can see in the seesaw, it produces speed and range of motion when axis is close to the force, that is tricep in the elbow extension, and it produces more force when the axis is close to the resistance, that is in the crowbar. Fine. If we talk about as an anatomical lever, which is well explained in this diagram, you can see the axis here, okay, atlanto-occipital joint, and the force, this is all about the agonist and the antagonist muscle group, and the resistance is brought about by the skull or the facial structures here, and that's how the movement occurs at atlanto-occipital joint, that is nodding. If we take in the elbow extension of the first class lever, that is the first class lever primarily acts more the elbow extension in the triceps. It is applying forces to the force is applied by the olecranon in extending the non-supported arm, which is the resistance, and the axis is the elbow joint. If we talk about second class levers, it produces force movement since a large resistance can be moved by a relatively small force, that is you can see in the wheelbarrow, nutcracker, or loosening a lug nut, or raising the body of the toes. That is what we are going to study in this. If we talk about the raising, that is plantar flexion, ankle is going to plantar flexion and we raise up the body. This is the force. The force is applied by the plantar flexors, and this is the fulcrum here at the ankle joint, and resistance is applied by the metatarsals. Now plantar flexion of the foot to raise the body up on the toes, where the ball the foot serve as an axis. Ankle plantar flexors may be applying forces to the calcaneum, which is acting as a fulcrum or the resistance to lift the resistance of the body at the tibial articulations. Fine. Third class levers, these they produce speed and range of motion movements, and most common in the human body, and requires a great deal of force to move even a small resistance. For example, paddling a boat, shoveling, that is application of lifting force to a shovel handle with lower hand, with upper hand on shovel handle, which is visible here, serves as a axis of rotation. In anatomical levers, if we talk about the elbow flexion, now in bicep brachii, now elbow joint will be acting as an axis, and the force which is applied at the insertion of radial tuberosity to rotate the forearm up with its center of gravity, the resistance serving as the point of resistance application. Here is the axis, the force is by the bicep, this is brachia, and resistance, this is the gravity which is acting against it. Now this brachialis, this pulls on the ulna just below the elbow, and the pull is direct and true since the ulna cannot rotate. The bicep brachia will supinate the forearm as it flexes, so that the third class leverage applies to the flexion only. Other examples can be hamstring contraction to flex the leg at the knee while in the standing position, where the knee joint will be in axis, hamstring will be the force, the muscle group, muscular force, and the resistance will be by the lower leg, and using iliopsoas to flex the thigh at the hip. The same goes there for the third class lever. Thank you for today.